Okay, so today we're going deep on something that might sound kind of, well, maybe not the most exciting thing at first glance.
Oh, what's that?
Operations management.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see how some people might think that.
But I think this is going to be really interesting because we're talking about the stuff that makes those like big, huge, ambitious plans actually work, you know?
Yeah, totally. Like, how do you actually take a vision and turn it into something real?
Right. It's like imagine you're suddenly in charge of this massive company.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a little scary.
Right. And you got to figure out how to make sure everyone, all these different teams and departments are actually working together towards the same goal.
That's a huge challenge for sure.
It is. So that's what we're diving into today, this whole system for aligning goals and actions.
From the top down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And stick around,
Uh,
okay? Because I bet you can actually use these same ideas to organize like pretty much anything in your own life too.
Oh, absolutely.
So where do we even begin with this?
Well, a good place to start is by thinking about what operations management actually is.
Okay.
Like, at its core, it's about using resources, people, money, materials, all that, in the most efficient and effective way possible.
To get stuff done.
Right. And to make sure that all that stuff is actually moving the company towards its big strategic goals.
Okay, so it's not just about like being efficient for the sake of being efficient.
Nope. It's all got to be tied back to the overall strategy of the company. Like, what are they trying to achieve in the long run?
Right, like their mission, their vision, all that jazz.
Exactly. And that's where those operational goals you mentioned come in. Because those are the concrete, measurable steps that help a company reach those bigger goals.
And you mentioned these operational goals before.
Yeah. So we're talking about things like quality.
Right.
Right. Making sure what you're producing is top-notch.
Makes sense.
Speed. Got to be able to get things done quickly, efficiently.
Time is money.
Exactly. And then there's dependability. You need your processes to be reliable, consistent, so people can count on you delivering what you promise.
That makes sense.
Then there's flexibility. Now, this one might seem a bit counterintuitive, especially in such a structured field like operations management.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't the whole point of a plan to like have a plan?
Right. But hear me out on this. We live in a world that's constantly changing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if you're stuck with a rigid plan, one that can't adapt, well, you might find yourself in trouble.
Like a dinosaur, just waiting for the meteor.
Exactly. But a company that's built on flexibility, they can roll with the punches, They can adapt to new market trends, new technologies, all that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of like, imagine a speedboat weaving through a bunch of icebergs.
Ooh, okay, I like this.
Right. A big slow tanker, that's not going to make it.
No way.
But that nimble speedboat, that's the company that can adapt and survive, even thrive.
So flexibility equals speedboat. Got it. And our source material talks about this system called the strategy cascade to actually like put this into practice.
Oh, that's a good one.
And they talk about these three key time frames for planning: long-term, medium-term, and individual performance. How do these all like fit together?
It's actually kind of like those Russian nesting dolls, right?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
You got the big outer doll, that's your long-term vision, the overarching direction of where the company wants to be in like 10, maybe even 20 years.
Okay, so super big picture.
Yeah. Then nestled inside, you've got the medium-term doll, which our sources call the medium-term strategic framework.
MTF. That's a mouthful.
I know, right? But this is where things start to get a little more, tangible.
Less fluffy.
Yeah, exactly. The MTF usually covers a 5-year period, so it's taking that big long-term vision and breaking it down into smaller, more manageable chunks.
So like, okay, in 5 years, here's where we want to be.
Right. And it takes into account, like, okay, where's the company at right now? What are their current baselines? And then it sets specific targets for where they want to be in those 5 years.
I got it. So that's the middle doll. But how do we actually get from those big overarching goals to what people are actually doing day to day?
Well, that's where the smallest doll comes in. Individual performance.
So every single person working at this company.
Yep. Because, see, the MTF doesn't just set targets. It also outlines the specific outputs and actions that are needed to actually hit those targets.
So it's not just like we want to be the best, it's here's how we're going to get there.
Yeah, exactly. And it also defines who's responsible for each part of the plan, who's going to own each piece of the puzzle.
Differentiation.
Right. And this is how it all connects to those individual performance plans. Because each person's goals and their day-to-day tasks, those should all be directly contributing to those MTF targets.
Which then feed into the long-term vision.
Boom, you got it. So it's like this beautiful chain reaction where every little thing that people are doing is actually pushing the company towards its ultimate goal.
I love it.
And that makes everyone's work feel more meaningful too, right?
Absolutely. Because you can see how your piece fits into the bigger picture.
Totally. And it reminds me, you were saying earlier about how this isn't just for like big companies, right?
Yeah. Like I was thinking this whole strategy cascade thing, it's kind of like how I plan, I don't know, a vacation or something.
Oh, yeah, totally. Walk me through it.
Okay, so let's say my big vision, my long-term goal is to like have this amazing, relaxing, Instagram-worthy trip to, I don't know, Bali.
Sounds nice. I'm in.
Right. So that's the big picture. But then my MTF, my medium-term plan, that's going to be, okay, how am I actually going to make this happen?
Yeah, like what are the logistics?
Right, like I need to book flights, find a place to stay, figure out what I want to do while I'm there.
Right. So you're breaking that big vision down into smaller steps.
Exactly. And then my individual performance, those are the daily actions, like actually doing the research, booking the flights, making those reservations, packing my bags,
Oh, yeah, all that prep work that makes the trip actually happen.
Totally. And without that MTF, that medium-term planning stage, it'd be easy to just get overwhelmed by the big picture and never actually take those concrete steps to make it happen.
For sure. And the same goes for companies, right? If they don't have that clear roadmap, that MTF, then those long-term goals can just feel too big and too abstract to actually act on.
Absolutely. And I think the key takeaway here is that it's not just about having those like, inspirational posters with a mission statement on the wall.
Yeah.
It's about having a real actionable plan to get there.
Totally. And it's about making sure that every single person in the company or in your personal life understands how their actions are contributing to that bigger goal.
So to wrap this up, I think what we've learned today is that strategic planning, it's not just for CEOs and executives.
Right. It's for anyone who wants to actually achieve something, no matter how big or small.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as a final thought for our listeners, I want to challenge you to think about one area in your own life where better alignment could make a difference. Maybe it's your career, your health, your relationships, whatever.
Yeah. Like, what's that big goal that you've been putting off? And what's one small step that you can take today to actually start moving towards it?
We'll leave you with that.
Yeah. Let us know how it goes.
See you next time.
Bye.